Hey everyone, we will review chapter 14, 15, and 16 today, and also perform the exam 2 exercise over these 3 chapters. For the best result for this exercise, make sure you study chapter 14, 15, and 16 before taking this exercise, and prepare some pieces of paper and pen or pencil to write your answer. There will be 2 or 3 seconds after each question to write your answer before the answer key is given and explained. Note that you can always pause the video if you need more time. After finish the exercise, check your answers, how many are correct and how many are incorrect. Repeat the process until you get 100% correct answers. Make sure that the 100 correct answers are based on your knowledge, not from your guess. If number 7, it is very likely that you will get a very good score in your exam number 2 if you follow this instruction correctly. Okay, we start with question number 1. Typically, what percentage of sample of human blood is made up of plasma? Choose your answer. Okay, now remember, if you centrifuge the blood sample, it will give you 2 or 3 regions. Okay, the bottom region is actually the cell, okay, mostly red blood cell, and the top regions will be the plasma or the blood plasma, and normally there will be 55% plasma and 45% the foam elements or cell. Okay, so the answer will be D, which is for 55% of blood plasma. Number 2, typically what percentage of sample human blood is made of red blood cell? So it should be easy because you already have the answer from the previous question. It's going to be 45. Which of the following condition is caused by low red blood cells concentrations? Choose your answer. Okay, if someone have low red blood cell, it means that he has anemia. So anemia usually caused by the lower concentration of red blood cells and also the lower concentration of hemoglobin, which is carried in the red blood cell. Okay, which of the following condition is caused by low white blood cell concentration? Use your answer. Okay, remember, white blood cell is leukocyte. That's the scientific name. So look for the leuko over here. So you have leukopenia and leukocytosis. So penia means low. This one means high. Okay, so the answer will be leukopenia. Which of the following condition is caused by high white blood cells concentrations? Choose your answer. And you already know the answer because the previous question actually gives you the clue. So this is going to be the answer. Leukocytosis or cytosis. Polycythemia is an elevated blank count, while leukocytosis in an elevated blank count. Choose your answer. Okay, so you already know leukocytosis is white blood cell. Okay, elevated white blood cell concentrations. Polycythemia, this is for red blood cell. So the answer will be A, red blood cell and white blood cell. Okay, next, which of the following condition is caused by deficiency of platelets? Choose your answer. Now, just make sure you know that the scientific name for platelet is thrombocyte. Okay, cyte means cell, thrombo means platelet. So this is platelet. So, and deficiency or low concentration is penia. So it's going to be this one over here, thrombocytopenia. Which of the following condition can cause excessive bleeding? Choose your answer. Okay, now if you study, you should be able to know this, because the one that help you to clot the blood, okay, to stop bleeding is thrombocyte, the platelets. So lower thrombocyte concentration, which is thrombocytopenia, will cause excessive bleeding. Which of the following describe leukemia? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so the answer will be, this is related to leukocyte. So this is the cancer of white blood cell. So it's gonna be, look for a white blood cell over here. So this is caused by too many immature white blood cell in circulation. Which of the following plasma proteins help coagulate blood and protects against loss of blood when bleeding? Choose your answer. Okay, again, remember in plasma protein there are three main protein, which is albumin, globulin, and fibrinogen. The one that help us protect us against loss of blood or bleeding is the fibrinogen. So this fibrinogen will be converted into fibrins, that will clot or seal the blood vessels. Which of the following form elements of blood protects against infectious disease? Choose your answer. Okay, remember there are three types of form elements. Okay, red blood cell, white blood cells, and platelets. The one that help us fight against infection is white blood cell, which is this one. Okay. Which of the following form elements of blood protects against loss of blood? Choose your answer. We already mentioned this on the previous questions. So platelet is the one that help us or protect us against loss of blood. Which of the following form elements of blood carry oxygens? Choose your answer. Okay, oxygens, 98% oxygen will be carried by hemoglobin. This hemoglobin is located in red blood cell. Okay, so the answer would be red blood cell. Which of the following is the most abundant type of white blood cell? A, B, C, D, or E? Okay, remember in the lecture, I told you how to memorize the sequence of white blood cell from the most abundant one to the least abundant one, which is never let monkey eat banana. Okay, So the most abundant one will start with N, which is neutrophils. Which of the following is the least abundant type of white blood cells? Choose your answer. Yes, if you follow never let monkey eat banana, then banana is the least abundant one, which is basophils. Which of the following white blood cell has a large kidney-shaped nucleus under the microscope? A, B, C, D, or E? Choose your answer. Okay, so if you look at the picture, okay, under the microscope, the one that have kidney-shaped nucleus is the monocyte. Okay, so monocyte has a kidney-shaped nucleus. Which of the following white blood cell is elevated during bacterial infection? Choose your answer. Okay, remember, neutrophil fights against bacteria, eosinophil, this is against parasites, basophils usually for inflammations including allergy, lymphocyte, this is mostly against viruses, monocyte also against bacteria. The one that's really elevated during bacterial infections will be neutrophil, followed by the monocyte. Okay, the answer should be neutrophils. Which of the following white blood cell is elevated during parasitic infection, such as parasitic worms? A, B, C, D, or E? Yeah, already mentioned before, that's eosinophil, usually the one that used for fighting against parasites. Which of the following white blood cell has function to fight against bacteria and remove dead cells and debris? A, B, C, D, or E? Okay, remember neutrophils and monocyte fights against bacteria, but monocyte has other function, which is to remove dead cell and also debris. So this should be the answer. Which of the following white blood cell is A, granulocyte that fight against viruses? A, B, C, D, or E? Okay, if you see fields over here, it means it has granules. Okay, it has granules. This is granulocytes, cell that have granules. The other two over here is the one that do not have granule. It's called the agranulocyte. Okay? So the one that fights against viruses is this lymphocyte. Which of the following form element is the most abundant? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember form elements, there are 3 of them: red blood cell, platelets, and white blood cell. 99% our form element is red blood cell. Okay, the rest will be platelets and white blood cell. And white blood cell actually less than 1%, is very low in concentration. So the answer will be red blood cell. Which of the following form element is biconcave and lack of nucleus? Choose your answer. Okay, the one that do not have nucleus is red blood cell. So red blood cell, they sacrifice the nucleus in order to carry more oxygen. So the answer will be red blood cell. Hematocrit measures percent of blank in a blood sample. A, B, C, or D? This hematocrit measures the concentrations of red blood cell. Therefore, if you have low hematocrit value, usually is indication of anemia. Okay, so red blood cell. Which of the following form elements has capability to do diapedesis, movement through blood vessel wall? A, B, C, or D? Okay. You see blood vessel, it has red blood cell, then white blood cells, and platelet. Okay. White blood cell has the ability to move, okay, out from the blood vessel to the injury area to kill or to remove bacteria. So the answer will be the white blood cell. Which of the following white blood cells are phagocytes? A, B, C, D, E, or F? Okay, so from 5 types of white blood cell, 2 of them are fighting against bacteria, and they're able to kill or eat bacteria. Okay, which is the neutrophils and macrophage. Okay, so the answer will be A and E. Monocyte neutrophils, they are phagocyte, okay, cell that eat other cell or eat bacteria. Which of the following white blood cell acts against foreign substances and tumor cell? A, B, C, D, or E? Okay, so tumor cells usually checked by T cell, which is part of the lymphocyte. Which of the following white blood cell has important roles in immunity? Okay, A, B, C, D, or E? So when we talk about, immune systems, the lymphatic system, this is lymphocyte. So lymphatic system is the one that give us the immunity and performed by lymphocyte, which is T cells and B cell. Which molecules in red blood cell carry oxygens? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so this is a proteins. This is globin. Okay, it is carried inside the blood, so hemoglobin blood. So hemoglobin is the molecules inside the red blood cell that carry oxygen. Which of the following hormones produced by kidney control red blood cell production in red bone marrow via negative feedbacks mechanisms? A, B, C, or D? Again, red blood cell. Okay, so red blood cells, you have to know the scientific name, which is erythrocyte. Okay, so erythrocyte is a scientific name for red blood cell. So the hormones that increase red blood cell production will be erythropoietin or EPO. It's produced by kidney. Hypoxia is a negative feedback mechanism which stimulates the release of A, B, C, or D. Okay, so hypo means lower, oxia means oxygen. So lower oxygen concentration, then it means that we need more red blood cell to carry oxygen. So the hormone that will be released will be EPO in order to increase red blood cell production. And this one will carry more oxygen, increase oxygen concentration. What is the final waste product of hemoglobin destructions in the liver? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember hemoglobins, they only have 120 days, so their life about 120 days has to be broken down in the liver, and the final product is called the bilirubin. What is the correct order of breakdown production of hemoglobins? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so remember the final products will be bilirubin. So look at this one, start from hemoglobin. Okay, so from hemoglobins, it's become heme, and then biliverdin, and the last one will be bilirubin. So D is the answer. Which hemoglobins part holds iron or ferrum? A, B, C, or D? Okay, the one that holds the iron is the heme groups. What is the normal pH range of blood? A, B, C, or D? A blood pH has to be controlled. It's very strict control. It's only between 7.3 to 7.5. So it has to be around that pH concentration. What is the normal value of hematocrit? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember hematocrit measure the red blood cell, and again, if you centrifuge the blood, the red blood cells normally 45%, the plasma 55%. What is the normal value of hemoglobin for male? A, B, C, or D? So normally, for healthy male, the hemoglobin has to be between 13.5 to 17.5 gram per deciliter. Blood clotting requires many factors. Which of the following is not one of them? A, B, C, or D? Okay, now for blood clotting, we know we need fibrinogen. This is the one that will be converted into fibrins. We need calcium and vitamin K. Albumin is not, okay, it's not part of clotting factors. Albumin is actually the most abundant proteins in the plasma that carry other particles like maybe lipids. Which of the following substance is produced by platelets during platelet plaque formations? A, B, C, or D? Okay, yes, you have to understand the clotting process. The one that is needed is serotonin. Serotonins will be produced by platelets, and it will attract other platelets to come to the broken part of the blood vessel. Which of the following steps is critical to the formation of blood clots? A, B, C, or D? Okay, it will be conversions from prothrombin to thrombin. So without this thrombin, then fibrinogen will not be converted into fibrins. Which of the following substances is essential for the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin? A, B, C, or D? We need vitamin K to make these conversions available. So prothrombin to thrombins require vitamin K. What determines an individual's blood type? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so really easy. There are antigens, it's called antigens that carried by the red blood cell. And this is the one that will determine someone's blood type. So if someone carry antigen A, for example, then his blood will be A. If he carry antigen B, then his blood will be B. If he carry both A and also B, then his blood type will be AB. If his red blood cell does not carry antigen, then his blood type will be O. So this is A blood type, B blood type, AB blood type, it is O. Okay, so the antigens on the surface of red blood cell, this is the one that determines someone's blood type. Which of the following antigens are found on the red blood cell of a person with type A blood? Okay, we already mentioned if it's type A blood, then only antigen A presence on his red blood cell surface. Okay, how about AB? So which antigen will be present on the red blood cells of someone that have type AB blood? It's going to be both A and B antigens. Which of the following antigens are found in the red blood cell of a person with type O? Remember, type O blood, he does not carry any antigens. Okay, so neither antigens A nor antigens B on his red blood cell. Which of the following antibodies are produced in the plasma of a person with type O blood? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so remember to know what blood type. It is based on the antigens on the red blood cell. If he carry A, then his blood type is A. Now, if he carry antigen A, okay, then he only produce antibody B. Okay, so antibody B. He cannot produce antibody A because A and A will fight. Okay, so A persons will produce B antibody. B, blood type B will only produce antibody A. Okay, if his blood type is AB, so he carry both A and B antigens, then he will not produce antibody. And if his blood type is O, it means that he does not have antigens on the surface of red blood cell, then he will produce both antibody A and antibody B. So both of them will be produced by someone that have blood type O. Okay, so blood type O will produce both antibody A and B. Which of the following antibodies are produced in the plasma of a person with type A blood? Remember, if he is type A, he only produce antibody B. Okay, it has to be opposite. Which of the following antibodies are produced in the plasma of person with type AB? Okay, AB, he carry both antigen, then he will not produce antibodies. Okay, neither antibodies A nor antibodies B. Which of the following blood type is the most common in the US? A, B, AB, or O? Okay, so about 45% blood type in United States is actually type O. So this is the most abundant type. What blood type blood or blood type in United States? How about the rarest or the least abundant type of blood type in the US? It is AB. So AB blood type is very rare. A person with type A blood can donate blood to a person with type blank blood. Okay, so remember donor and recipient. Okay, so the universal donor is O. So O can give blood to any blood type. Okay, and if it is A, okay, it only can give A or AB because AB is universal recipient. Okay, so if the blood type is A, the donor A, then they can only give A or an AB. Okay, so A and AB. A person with type AB blood type can donate blood to a person with blank blood type. Okay, remember AB is recipients. Okay, so donor AB, recipient will only AB because this is actually universal recipient. Then if he has AB blood type, he can only give to another AB. That's the only one. Okay, so AB only. A person with type O blood can donate blood to a person with type blank blood. Okay, remember again, donor O is universal. What does universal mean? He can give to anybody. Okay, so any blood type. So A, B, AB, and O. So all blood types. A person with type AB blood can receive blood from a person with type blank blood. Okay, so AB is universal recipient. Okay, it means that he can receive blood from any blood type. So A, B, AB, or O can give blood to AB person. So all blood type can be donor for AB blood type. A person with type O blood can receive blood from a person with type blank blood. Okay, so O is donor. Okay, because he's a donor, then he only can receive from O. Okay, so he is not recipient. He only can receive blood from O. O can give to anybody, but he can only receive from O. A person with type O negative blood can receive blood from a person with type blank blood. Okay, so donor, recipient. Okay, so the universal donor is O negative. This is universal. If he is O negative, then he only can receive from O negative. Because O is donor, not recipient. So he can only receive from one type of blood type. A person with AB plus blood can receive blood from a person with type blank blood. Okay, so again, AB plus is universal recipient. Remember, AB is universal recipient plus also universal recipient. So this is recipient. Okay, so which donor can give to AB plus? Because he is universal recipient, then he can get blood from any blood type. So A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus, AB plus, AB minus, O plus, O minus. All of them can give blood to AB plus because AB plus is universal recipient. So all blood type. A person with type blank blood is known as real universal donor. Okay. So which one is going to be first? O is universal donor, and negative is also universal donor. Okay, so the real universal donor is mean that can give to any blood type is O negative. So if you are O negative, then you can give your blood to anybody. A person with type blank blood is known as real universal recipient. Okay, again, AB is universal recipient and plus also universal recipient. So combination between AB and plus become the real universal recipient, which is AB plus. The two organs of cardiovascular system are blank and blank. Okay, choose your answer. Okay, should be easy. Cardio mean heart, vascular mean blood vessel. So look for that one, the heart and blood vessels. The three types of blood vessels are blank, blank, and blank. Okay, choose your answer. There are three types, which is artery, okay, vein, and they combine to make capillary. Okay, so artery, veins, and capillary, these are the three types of blood vessel. How about aorta? Aorta is a type of artery. Pulmonary trunk is a type of artery. Okay? Coronary artery, of course, this is an artery. The type of blood vessel that carry blood toward the heart are called blank. A, B, C, or D. So this is heart. Okay. There is atrium and then ventricle. Okay. There's connection between atrium and ventricles. So blood vessel that carry blood away from heart is called artery. So arteries carry blood away from the heart. The blood vessel that return blood into the heart is called veins. Okay, and then connection between vein and arteries and vein is called capillary. Okay, so the question is the blood vessel that carry blood toward is going to the heart, which is going to be this one over here. It's called the vein. The type of blood vessel that carry blood away from the heart, then it's going to be the arteries. The pulmonary trunk divides into what two vessels? A, B, C, or D. Okay, so it is the heart atrium, right atrium, left atrium. Okay, so this is right atrium. This is left, right ventricle. So right ventricles will pump the blood to this pulmonary trunk. And then pulmonary trunk will branch into two arteries. Remember, right ventricles will pump the blood to the lungs, right? So it's going to be left lungs and right lung. The one that goes to the right lung is called the right pulmonary artery. The other one's going to be left pulmonary artery. Okay, so left and right pulmonary arteries. The aorta divides into three main portions, which are A, blank, blank, and blank. A, B, C, or D. Okay, so aorta pump from the left ventricle. This is left ventricle. Pump the blood to the aorta. And the aorta will make this structure, which is ascending, going up. And then the arc of the aorta and the descending part. Okay, it's going to be ascending, the arc of aorta, and descending aorta. The aorta divided into three main portions, which are, I think you already answered this question. The blood vessels that supply the heart muscles are A, B, C, or D. Okay, so this is the heart from the left ventricles. Yeah, there will be aorta. And the first branch of aorta, on the ascending aorta, it will give blood to the heart muscle. And this vessel is called the coronary arteries, which is left and right. So coronary arteries are the blood vessels that carry blood to the heart muscles, the myocardium. The coronary arteries branch from blank aorta. Okay, just mentioned is branch from the ascending aorta. Okay, so the first part of aorta over here is called the ascending aorta. It's branched into two arteries, coronary arteries. The arch of the aorta branches into what vessels? A, B, C, or D. Okay, so if it is the heart again, from the left ventricles, there will be aorta. Start with the ascending aorta and arch aorta, and then descending aorta. Okay, remember ascending aorta branching into two coronary arteries. Okay, the arch of aorta will branch into three arteries. The right one is called the brachiocephalic artery. On the left, it has two branchings. It's left common carotid artery going to the left brain, and the left subclavian artery to our left arms. Okay, so left common carotid artery, left subclavian artery, and this is brachiocephalic artery. Okay, so brachiocephalic artery, left common carotid artery, left subclavian artery. So all of these arteries. Which of the vessel does not branch off the aorta? Brachiocephalic artery, coronary arteries, left subclavian artery, or pulmonary artery? Choose your answer. Of course, pulmonary arteries, because pulmonary arteries branch from pulmonary trunk, not from aorta. At its inferior end, the aorta divides into what? Two vessels, A, B, C, or D. Okay, again, this is the heart. From the left ventricle, there will be aorta. Start with the ascending aorta, arch of the aorta, and then descending aorta. At the end, at the very bottom part of our body, it will branch into two common iliac artery that go to our lower limbs, okay, to our legs, left and right. So left and right common iliac artery. When taking a pulse at the wrist, which artery is being palpated? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so it's going to be part of your wrist is on the radial area. It's called the radial artery that will be used for palpation. When taking a pulse rate at the neck, which artery is being palpated? A, B, C, or D? Okay, just remember from the arch of the aorta, the artery will going up to the brain, and the one that carry blood to the brain is called common carotid artery. Okay, it is located on our neck. So it's going to be common carotid artery. What is the effects of vasoconstriction? A, B, C, or D? Okay, constriction means when you constrict the blood vessel. So when your blood vessel constricted, then the blood pressure will be increased. What's the effect of nitric oxide or NO in the blood vessels? A, B, C, or D? So the nitric oxide is actually will make your blood vessel bigger or dilate. Okay, so it's called the vasodilations. Vaso mean blood vessel, dilation mean bigger. The cardiovascular system is vital to survival because A, B, C, or D. Okay, so what is the function of cardiovascular system? Is carry oxygen and other nutrients to our cell. So it's deliver oxygen and nutrient to our cell. It's very important, especially oxygen. Without oxygen, our cell will die. The two main circuits are the blank and blank. Okay, there are two main circuits. The one that delivers blood to the lung is called the pulmonary circuit. And the one that carry blood to the whole body is called systemic. So it's going to be systemic and pulmonary. The systemic circuits A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or H. So choose your answer. Okay, so remember the heart from the systemic circuit start from the left ventricle, right? The left ventricles pump the blood to the aorta. And this aorta will carry rich blood, the blood that has a lot of oxygen to our body. So carry oxygen-rich blood to our tissue. Okay, and then from there, okay, after deliver the blood to the tissue, which is in capillary, then the blood will be returned to the right atrium, and this blood is poor blood. Okay, it's carried by vein. So poor blood will be returned, rich blood will be delivered to the tissue. Okay. The pulmonary circuits, so choose your answer. And this is going to be opposite. It starts from the right ventricle. It pumps the blood to the pulmonary trunk. Okay? So this blood is going to be poor blood. Okay? The one that do not have oxygen, it will be pumped into the lung. Okay? So in the lung, it will receive a lot of oxygen and return it to the left atrium. And this blood that returns to the left atrium will be rich blood. Okay, has a lot of oxygen in it. So it's carry the poor blood, oxygen poor blood to the lungs, and return the rich blood to the heart. What's the special name of blood circulation into the heart muscle? It has special name. It's called coronary circulation. So the blood that circulates in our heart muscle is called the coronary circulation. Start from coronary arteries and then enter into the right atrium as coronary sinus. How does the hepatic portal system differ from other part of the circulations? Okay, so portal system, this is the system that carry blood from one capillaries to another capillaries before going back to the heart. So it's going to be this one, so flow from capillaries to another set of capillary, which is liver. The first set will be GI tract organs like stomach, intestine, pancreas. Okay, all of them will go to liver first, and then from the liver it will return to the heart, okay, through the inferior vena cava. The heart is enclosed by a sac called A, B, C, or T. Okay, remember, heart is cardio. Okay, so heart is cardio. So look for that. Usually it will tell you the name. So cardium over here. So the sac of the heart will be called the pericardium. The tough outermost layer of the sac that surround the heart is called A, B, C, or D. Okay, so the pericardium, the one that protect the heart, the layer that protect the heart, it has 3 layers. The outermost one is called the fibers. It's made of fiber connected tissue. It's going to be fibers pericardium. The thin layer that line the chamber of the heart is called A, B, C, or D. Now we're talking about the heart layer. Okay, the outer layer is called the epicardium. Okay, and the middle layer will be the most, okay, the thickest layer. It's gonna be myocardium, which is the muscle of the heart. And the one that lining the chamber, okay, is called the endo. Endo means inside. Okay, in endocardium. Which of the following is the chamber of the heart? A, B, C, or D? Okay, there are 4 chambers of the heart. The top one is called atrium. The bottom one is called ventricle. Okay, there is connection between atrium and ventricle. So right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. So there should be 4 chambers. So all of the above chambers. Which of the following chambers will contain oxygen's poor blood? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so from these 4 chambers, the top one is right and left atrium. The bottom one is right and left ventricles. Okay, so the right side is the one that has poor blood, because this is the one that will be delivered to lungs, and this is the one that coming from our body tissue. So the right side. So look for the right side, which is right atrium and right ventricles. Which of the following chamber will contain the oxygen-rich blood? Okay, so it's going to be opposite side. Okay, so the left side, okay, which is left atrium and left ventricle, will have the rich blood because it just received blood from the lung. Okay, so this is the one that have rich blood, left atrium and left ventricle. Which of the following is the valve of the heart? A, B, C, D, or E? Okay, remember there are 4 valves in the heart. Between the right atrium and right ventricle, there is valve called the tricuspid. Okay, so tricuspid. Right. And then between the left atrium and left ventricle, there is bicuspid valve. Okay, and then right ventricle, there will be to pump the blood to the pulmonary trunk, and there will be valve between right ventricle and pulmonary trunk. It's called a pulmonary valve. And from the left ventricle, it pumps the blood through the aorta, and there is a valve between left ventricle and aorta. Is called the aortic valve. Okay, so there are 4 valves: tricuspid, bicuspid, aortic, and pulmonary valves. Which of the following valve is located between the right atrium and right ventricle? Okay, right. Okay, so right. So it has R letter over here. So the easy to remember is gonna be over here, right? So tricuspid valve is on the right side. Okay, so tricuspid on the right atrium and right ventricle. Which of the following valve is located between the left atrium and left ventricle? So it's gonna be the bicuspid. And another name for bicuspid valve is called the mitral valve. Which of the following valve is located between the left ventricle and aorta? It should be easy because it is going to aorta. Then the valve will be aortic valve. Which of the following valve is located between the right ventricle and pulmonary trunk? Okay, because going to the pulmonary trunk, then the valve is called pulmonary valve. During the ventricular contraction or systole, what is the status of atrioventricular valve? Okay, so this is what happens when we pump the blood from the left ventricles over here. Okay, systoles, and also from the right ventricles going to the pulmonary trunk. Okay, so both of these valves will be open. So the pulmonary trunk and the aortic valve will be open. But the other two valves, which is tricuspid and bicuspid, will be closed. Okay, so the tricuspid and bicuspid valve will be closed. The tricuspid, bicuspid will be closed during systole. Which of the following veins enter the right atrium of the heart? Okay, the right atrium will receive 3 blood vessels. Okay, from the top, from our brains and arms, it's called the superior vena cava. And then from the bottom part of our body, there will be big vein, it's called the inferior vena cava. And from the heart muscle, there will be smaller vein, is called coronary sinus. Okay, there are 3 blood vessels enter into the right atrium, and all of them carry poor blood. Okay, because it has been used by our tissue. So superior, inferior, and coronary sinus. Which of the following veins enter the left atrium of the heart? Okay, if the heart, this is left atrium, it will receive blood from the lungs, right? The rich blood from the lung. And the blood vessel that coming from the lung is called the pulmonary veins. Pulmonary vein. There are 4 actually, 2 from the left side and 2 from the right side. This is right lung, this is left lung. Okay, right pulmonary vein and left pulmonary veins. Blood flowing from vena cava to the pulmonary trunk passes through what series of structure? Okay, so to know this, you have to know the structure of the heart. So it said it starts from vena cava. Okay, let's say this is the heart, and the one that go to vena cava will be right atrium. So that's going to be the first structure. Okay, so right atrium. So this is right atrium, right atrium. Okay, so this is the first choice over here. And then from the right atrium, it will go down to right ventricle. It will pass the valve, it's called the tricuspid. So look for that one. So tricuspid after that. And then from right ventricle, there will be pulmonary trunk. But before going to the pulmonary trunk, there will be valve. It's called the pulmonary valve. Okay, so tricuspid, go to the right ventricle, and then go to pulmonary valve, and finally we'll go to the pulmonary trunk. So that should be the answer. Okay, so passing right atrium, tricuspid valve, right ventricle, pulmonary valve, and then pulmonary trunk. What is the normal pacemaker of the heart? A, B, C, or D? Okay, the natural pacemaker of the heart is called the sinoatrial node, located on the right atrium, so the SA node. What is the correct sequence of components of the cardiac conduction system? Okay, so remember, it starts with the SA node because that's the pacemaker, the one that give the first contraction. So look for the SA node. Okay, from the SA node, it will go to the AV node. Okay, and then from AV node, atrioventricular node, will go to the atrioventricular bundle, and then finally go to the Purkinje fibers. So start with the SA node. What causes the P wave on an EKG, electrocardiograph? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so when you see the EKG graph, it's going to be look like this: flat, and then wave, a peak of P, and then QRS, and then T wave. Okay, so P, QRS, and T. Okay, so P is actually showing the contractions of atrium, depolarization of atrium. The QRS is showing the depolarization of ventricles. Okay, and the T is showing the repolarizations of ventricle. So the P is depolarization of atrium. What causes the QRS complex on EKG? And already mentioned, this is going to be depolarization of ventricles. Okay, this is usually measure the systole over here. Okay, so systole is during depolarization of ventricle muscle. T, okay, so T is repolarization, which is relaxation. Okay, so relax, and this is the same as diastole. Okay, so this one is systole. The contraction of ventricles is a systole, and relaxation of ventricle is diastole. So that's the heart cycle, systole and diastole. Which EKG wave is correctly described? P is depolarization of atrium. Yeah, that's already correct over there. QRS, depolarization of ventricle, that's also correct. T is repolarization of ventricle, that's also correct. So the answer will be all the above are correct. What term refers to an abnormally slow heart rate? A, B, C, or D? So if heart rate higher than 100 beats per minute is called tachy. So tachy means fast. If it is lower than 60 beats per minute, it's called brady. Okay, so brady means slow. So it's called a bradycardia, slow heart rate. What term refers to an abnormally high heart rates? Okay, we already mentioned that. It's going to be tachycardia, higher than 100 beats per minute. What are pathogens? A, B, C, or D? So pathogen means organism that can cause disease. So this is disease causing agents. How do viruses differ from other pathogens? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember virus is not a cell. So virus not cell. Okay, so it is multicellular, it's going to be not, because it is not a cell. It is not unicellular because it is not a cell. They are more likely to cause life-threatening infections. It could be, yeah. But the truth about viruses is they are not capable of reproducing outside the living cell. So they have to be inside the cell. Okay? They are called as obligate intracellular parasite. Okay, so parasite that has to be inside the cell in order to cause problem or in order to reproduce. How can the innate defense be characterized? A, B, C, and D. So the innate is mean non-specific. So you have two non-specific over here. And the process is mostly very fast. So whenever we have damage in our area or injury, then as soon as possible, our non-specific defense, the innate specific defense, will try to protect us. So the phagocytes, the neutrophils, monocytes will try to kill as many as pathogens on the injury area. Which type of defense mechanism is specific and acquired? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so remember for defense mechanism is divided into two types. Okay, innate, which is non-specific, and acquired, which is specific. Okay, so the innate is divided into two types: first line and second line of defense. And the acquired, the specific one, become the third line of defense. Okay, and it is done by lymphocyte. Okay, so the acquired specific will be the third line of defense. Penis gets a splinter in his finger. As the splinter penetrates his skin, potentially introducing microbes into his tissue. What is his body's first response? A, B, C, or D? Okay, of course, it's going to be the non-specific first, the innate. Defense will be activated. Skin structure, mucus, tears, wax, sweat, hairs are examples of A, B, C, or D. Okay, remember again, different mechanisms divided into two: innate, which is non-specific, and acquired. This is specific. Okay, the innate divided into first line and second line. The specific one become the third lines. And the first line consists of three mechanisms. Okay, mechanical, chemicals, and genetic barriers. Okay. Example of mechanical barriers are our skin structure, mucous membranes, production of tears, sweat, mucus, wax. So it's going to be the mechanical barriers. Acids in the stomach lysozymes in tears, and oils in the skin are example of. Okay, remember the first line of defense over here. Okay, there are three components: mechanical, chemical, and genetic barrier. Okay, and mechanical, we already have, the skin, mucus, hairs. Chemical is production of chemical that remove or kill bacteria, like for example, acid in the stomach, lysozymes in our tears, oils on our skin. That's going to be chemical barriers. The redness and swelling that occurs when with inflammation is due to what changes in the infected or injured tissue. A, B, C, or D. Okay, so this is really logical. When we have injured in our area, then the blood will be flowing to that area to carry a lot of white blood cell and other things to protect us against infection. So the blood flow will be increased. Okay, so increase blood flow and permeability. Why is the short-term low-grade fever an effective innate defense? A, B, C, or D. Okay, so this is the second line of defense. One of them is fever. And remember, fever is actually inhibits many bacterial growth and also increase the phagocyte activity. Okay, so increase body temperature enhance the effectiveness of phagocyte. So that's going to be the answer. What defense mechanism respond to the presence of foreign antigens by initiating a cascade of reactions that enhance phagocytosis in the area? A, B, C, or D? So this is called the complement system. So complement system will causing the antibodies to react to the antigens and increase the phagocytosis. Cells that are infected by virus release blank that function to protect the nervous cell from becoming infected. A, B, C, or D. Okay, so if a cell, so let's say this is cell, there are two groups of cells. Okay, this is the first one is actually infected by viruses. Okay, this is virus. So this cell is called the infected cell. This infected cell then will produce chemical is called the interferon. And this interferon will be released to the healthy cell. Okay, when the healthy cell receives the interferon, it produces proteins that protect them against the virus. Okay, so the molecules or the chemical is called the interferons. So interferon actually can be harvested and injected into healthy persons in order to protect their cell from infection. What types of phagocytic cells are circulating in the blood? A, B, C, or D. So already mentioned when we talk about the 5 types of white blood cell, never let monkey eat banana. Okay, so 2 of them, neutrophil and monocyte, are phagocyte. Okay, the one that eat other cell or bacteria. So neutrophils and monocyte. What is one function of limbs related to defense mechanism? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so limbs is carry a lot of things to the lymph node. Okay, usually they will go to the lymph node, and in the lymph nodes there are a lot of T cell and B cell. Okay, so the foreign molecules will be carried by the limbs by the lymph vessel into the lymph node. So carry the foreign particles, including bacteria and other debris, into the lymph nodes. Which of the following occurs during an adaptive immune responses? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so production of interferon, this is the second line of defense. Okay, so it is not the third line of defense. Remember, adaptive is the third line of defense over here. It's performed by B cells and T cells. Okay, so T cell perform activity is called the CMI, cell-mediated immunity. It will kill the virus directly, but the B cell perform the AMI, antibody-mediated immunity, which is B cell will produce antibodies, and antibodies then will remove or destroy the antigen. So it's going to be this one, production of antibodies or immunoglobulins or IG. Following contact with its targeted antigens, a B cell will divide and differentiate into blank, which produce and secrete antibodies. Okay, so the B cell will differentiate into B memory cell and plasma B cell. This plasma B cell is the one that produces the antibodies. Okay, so plasma cell. What is the function of plasma cells? Okay, we already mentioned that the function of plasma cell or plasma B cell is production of antibodies. What is opsonization? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so if this is pathogens, maybe bacteria or viruses, and the opsonization is the coverings of these pathogens with antibody, and it will be available for the phagocyte, okay, like maybe the monocyte, to eat them, to make it is available to be eaten by this phagocyte. That's the opsonization process of binding an antigen with proteins to make it ready for phagocyte. What's the function of cytotoxic cell or TC? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember T cell can be divided into TC, cytotoxic T cell, and TH, T helper. This TC will attack the pathogens directly. Okay, so TC will attack the infected cell directly. Immune cell called blanks are activated when their antigen receptor bind to a display foreign antigen. They then release cytokine that help other immune cells to be active to continue the immune response. Okay, which one is that? Okay, remember the process? When virus enter into our cell, then it will be processed by macrophages. Okay, when the macrophages process this pathogen, then it will produce the presenting the antigens. Okay, that's the reason why this macrophage is also known as APC. Okay, antigen presenting cell. So when the antigen present, then it will be recognized by the T cell, which is the T helper. Okay, and this T helper then produce cytokine to activate the B cell. Okay, when the B cell activate, then it will produce the B cell memory and plasma B cell. And this plasma B cell is then produce the antibody to kill this pathogen. Okay, so this is the plasma B cell. And the T helper also produce interleukin. It's go to another T cell, it's called TC. And then this TC will divide into TC memory cell and TC clones. And this TC clone will kill the pathogens directly. Okay, so again, the one that perform this process over here is called the T helper. Okay, helper T cell. The human immune deficiency virus HIV targets blank, which explain why both humoral and cellular immune response become inefficient as a result of HIV infection. Okay, so remember that process again. So this is the macrophage. This is pathogens, and then macrophages will process that, will produce the antigens, presenting the antigen. Antigen will be recognized by T helper. T helper will produce interleukin and also cytokine. Okay. Cytokine will activate B cell. Interleukin will activate the T cell. Okay. And B cell become plasma B cell and B memory cell. The TC become TC memory and clone TC. Clone TC will kill the pathogens, destroy the pathogen directly. Plasma B cell will produce antibody that will destroy this antigen or pathogens. Okay, so this is the process. It starts from the T helper. HIV virus is actually attack the T helper. It's destroying the T helper. Okay, if the T helper destroy, then this process will also gone. Okay, so the individual that have HIV infections become AIDS, they usually unable to protect themselves against any type of infection. Okay, so the one that is targeted by the HIV is T helper T cells. What type of immunoglobulin or Ig is the most abundant of the circulating antibodies? Okay, so remember the sequence. Start with IgG. Okay, so just remember after G is A, and then M, and the last one is E. So look like game. What? Game. But before E, there is D. Okay. So IgG, IgA, IgM, IgD, and IgE. So that's the sequence of antibodies based on the abundance. So IgG will be the most abundant one. from the collecting duct, the limbs enter lung and becomes part of the plasma. Okay, where they go? Of course, the limbs is connected to the vein, especially the brachial veins that finally become superior vena cava. Okay, it's gonna be combined with veins. What are the two main types of lymphocytes? Okay, so we already mentioned this many times. Lymphocyte consists of B cell and T cell. Both B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes are made in A, B, C, or D. Okay, remember the place for making all blood type, which is red blood cell, platelets, and white blood cell. Okay, this white blood cell, there are 5 types of them: neutrophil, lymphocyte, monocyte, eosinophil, basophil. Never let monkey eat banana. That's the sequence. And lymphocyte consists of T cell and B cell. All of these made in red bone marrow in our bones. So red bone marrow. B lymphocytes maturation is happening in A, B, C, or D. So red bone marrow is the place for make the B cell and T cell. Okay, all blood cells will be made in red bone marrow. T cells, it will go to thymus gland to be mature. B cell will stay in the red bone marrow and get mature inside the red bone marrow. Okay, both of the B cell and T cell that already mature, they will go to the lymphatic organ. Okay, such as lymph node. Okay, so the B cells produce in the red bone marrow and stay in red bone marrow for maturation. So it's gonna be red bone marrow. Okay, the T lymphocyte maturation is happening in thymus gland. Name of hormone produced by the thymus gland that stimulate maturation of T lymphocyte. So this is thymus glands, and the name of the hormone that produced by the thymus gland will be very similar with the name of the gland itself. It's going to be thymosin. Mature B lymphocyte and T lymphocytes are residing in A, B, C, or D. Okay, remember, B cell mature in the red bone marrow. The T cell get mature in thymus gland. Both of them will be delivered into the lymphatic organs. They will stay in the lymphatic organs. One of the lymphatic organ is the lymphatic nodes. What type of immunoglobulins are involved in type 1 hypersensitivity? Okay, remember type 1 hypersensitivity, type 2, type 3, and type 4. Okay, so hypersensitivity. Now for type 1, type 2, and type 3, all of them is caused by the antibodies, by the Ig that is really overreactive. So type 1 is caused by the IgE that is really overreactive. Type 2 is IgM, and type 3 is by IgG. And the type 4 is the only one that caused by cell, which is the T cell. So the T cell is overreactive. So for the type 1 will be IgE. What type of immunoglobulins are involved in type 2 hypersensitivity? Remember, it's going to be the IgM. How about type 3? This will be the IgG. And this is the most abundant type of antibodies. Okay, remember the rule. Okay, GAMDE. Okay, so G is the most abundant one. And this is the one that causing the type 3 hypersensitivity. What type of immune response or components are involved in type 4 hypersensitivity? And this is the only one that caused by the cell, which is the T cells overreactive. What type of hypersensitivity involves T lymphocyte? Okay, we already mentioned that, the type 4. Anaphylactic shock is a risk with what type of hypersensitivity? Okay, so anaphylactic shock is examples of type 1 hypersensitivity. Okay, so this is allergy. This is systemic allergy, like a bee sting, for example, is a type of anaphylactic shock. Right? So this is type 1 hypersensitivity. Jimmy Neutron has a condition in which his immune system has attacked and destroyed his beta cell. Okay, so beta cell located in pancreas. This is an example of type 1, type 4 autoimmune disease or tissue rejection reaction. Okay, so this is autoimmune disease, and autoimmune disease mostly the type 3 hypersensitivity. Okay, so autoimmune disease, which is our Ig. Remember, type 3 is caused by the IgG. The IgG that attack our own cell. In this case, this IgG attack the beta cell of pancreas, causing the type 1 diabetes. Rheumatic fever, rheumatoid arthritis or RA, type 1 diabetes, and systemic lupus erythropoiesis are examples of. Okay, this is caused by the IgG that attack our own tissue. Okay, so all of these type of disease is called the autoimmune disease, which is actually mostly a type 3 hypersensitivity. What is the target of cytotoxic T cell or TC? A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. Okay, so of course, T cell is not the target for TC itself because T helper actually the one that helps TC. Cancer cell, yes. cell infected by virus, yes. Okay. So mostly these two targets. Okay. So TC will destroy the cancer cell and also cell that infected by viruses. How do the cytotoxic T cell destroy the targeted cell? A, B, C, D, or E. Interferon, remember, interferon is produced by infected cell, okay, not by the TC. So this is not the answer. Interleukin mostly produced by T helper. Okay? So this is produced by the infected cell. The IL is by T helper. So this is not the answer. The phagocyte, so of course this is not the answer because TC is not phagocyte. Yeah, phagocyte is neutrophils and monocyte. Produce antibody, it is also not because antibodies produced by B cell, right? So the only answer will be production of perforins, and perforins will destroy the cancer cell and also cell infected by viruses. Following a tissue or an organ transplant, the recipient typically needs to take medication to blank. Okay, remember when we get the transplantation or graft, okay, organ transplantations or skin graft, for example, there will be rejection. Okay, so the rejection. So in order to suppress our rejection, to suppress our immune system, then someone, the recipient, will get the medication. Okay, so this medication is used for suppress his immune system to make sure that TC will not attack the organ that is transplanted to his body. What type of immunity will a person develop after contracting and fighting an infection? Okay, A, B, C, or D. Okay, remember when it is contacting with the infection, it's going to be natural, right? So this is natural immunity. Okay, and then after the infection, then our body will destroy that infectious disease, and then will be cured, and we will produce the memory cell. Okay, and this memory cell will protect us against the next infection. It's going to be long-term. Okay, long-term immunity, which is called active immunity. Okay, so the answer will be natural and active immunity. Yeah, after we get the disease, the natural disease. So natural acquired and active immunity. What type of immunity will a person develop after getting vaccinations or immunization? Okay, so vaccination is artificially giving the disease. Okay, so this is artificial. It's going to be artificial acquired, and immunization will cause us to produce memory cell, and it will protect us for long-term immunity. Okay, immunization. So its long-term immunity is called active. So the answer will be artificial and active. Artificial acquired and active immunity. What type of immunity will a person develop after getting immunoglobulins or antibodies injection? So getting immunoglobulins or antibodies will not us to make memory cell. So no memory cell produced, then our immunity just temporary, and it is called passive. Okay? Passive immunity, temporary immunity. And it is done by injection. So injection is artificial. So look for artificial acquired and passive immunity. So someone that gets antibody injection or IG injections will have artificial passive immunity. So he will be immune for the disease for only several months. Injection of gamma globulins will provide A, B, C, or D. Okay, again, injection is artificial. Gamma globulin, this is the same as IG, antibody. So it should be passive because no memory cell produced. So it's going to be artificial passive immunity. What type of immunity will a baby develop after receiving antibody from his mother through placenta or breastfeeding? A, B, C, or D. Okay, now receive antibody, so it's gonna be passive, because no production of memory cell, just receiving antibody, so it's passive. But this baby get it from mother, natural way. It's not injection, so it's gonna be natural acquired and passive immunity. So the baby will get the protection as long as he gets the breastfeeding from the mother. If the breastfeeding stops, then his protection will be lost also. Maybe only last for several months. Newborns can be protected against certain digestive and respiratory infections when they receive blank via their mother's milk. Okay, now you have to know the distribution of these antibodies. Again, from the most abundant one is G, right? AGG, and then AMDE. Okay, so IgG mostly in the blood circulation, 80%. Okay, the IgA is the one that's mostly present in the secretions, in the fluid. Okay, fluid like sweat, milk, saliva, mucus. Okay, so this IgA. So from this question, you should be able to answer this question because the baby get antibodies from their mother's milk. What type of Ig, what type of antibody will be present? It's gonna be IgA. Okay, because IgA mostly present in the fluid secretions like milk. How does a vaccine produce its effects? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so vaccines. So this is actually weak type of disease or pathogen that is injected into our body. It will activate our immune response. Okay, which is B cells and the T cell. If a vaccine is given to the most people in the population, it can halt or stop the spread of an infection. This condition is called A, B, C, or D. Okay, so when most people in the area, let's say 80% of people receive vaccinations, so they are vaccinated, then the other 20% is actually protected, because there will be less disease due to 80% of them already protected from the disease. So the 20% will be also protected by this 80% of people. And this condition is called the herd immunity. Okay, the immunity that is given by the majority of people that have vaccination. Amanda has Crohn's disease and has been given the drug called the Humira, a monoclonal antibody. So what does monoclonal antibody means? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so this is antibodies is produced, injected into her body to protect her against the Crohn's disease. And because this is mono, so it's mean only single. So it's going to be single type of antibody. So it's only consists a single type of antibody, maybe only IgG or IgM. I think that's all for this review and also exercise. Good luck for your second exam. I'll see you